Before we get started with this video, I want to let you know that I've been using the Crusher ANC since Saturday. For those of you who are catching this video super late, Saturday was 2 days ago, and the more I listen to them, the more I love them. Just like everything else, there's some things I don't like, but we're saving that for another video later on in the week. Today, it's all about the battle of the Crushers, the Crusher 360 versus the Crusher ANC. So let's get it on.
Let's do it.
So right here we got last year's model, which is the Crusher 360. Today we got the latest addition to the Crusher family, which is the Crusher ANC. I'm starting off with the case. I didn't want to do the unboxing experience, although the unboxing experience is much more premium with the Crusher 360 simply because these are limited edition. All right, I need y'all to understand that these were limited edition headphones. So there are things about these headphones that you will probably never see again. Now that doesn't take anything away from the experience you get with unboxing and the case and everything from the Crusher ANC. I'm just letting you know that they put a lot more into the packaging and experience and materials of this set of headphones right here because it's limited edition. Now let's get into it. As you can see, two different looks as far as the case goes, and that's because this one will swivel and fold and this one only fold. But right here we got this nice semi-hard shell vinyl case. It is nice and compact. Very, very nice zipper and everything else. I like it a lot. It's definitely one of my favorite cases that I've owned. Now here we get this fabric material with the Skullcandy logo. It's kind of like a vinyl print on there that's kind of ironed on, I guess you would say. But the texture is nice of this right here. It is texture and it's got a nice feel to it. It is a semi-hard shell case. You got your zipper right here, nice zipper, but that's about it for the cases. Now let's open them up so we can see the package. All right, now that we got these open, let's start with the accessories first. Here, a little bit more premium because you have your accessories pouch right here and it's detachable via Velcro. So that way, if you don't actually use this stuff, like if you're a guy like me, I don't use this stuff in here. I always got my own charger, my own charging cable, and I never use the 3.5mm plug. So I don't need this. So you can just take this out and have extra room in your case for the headphones or some storage for something else. Here, there's a dedicated spot for it. But since we're talking about accessories, let's go ahead and look at them. Here we have the exact same quality and cable. You got some Skullcandy branding on the cables and you know, it's nice and thick, but we have one major difference here. This one is USB-C belonging to the ANC, and this one is micro USB belonging to the Crusher 360. So that's going to be a huge thing that we have to talk about in just a moment as we go into this comparison. So we got USB-C and micro USB-C here, but here is a major difference. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of disappointed because this is a nice thick quality cable that came with the Crusher 360. You got your volume slide right here, which is nice to have, and you got your tactile button right there. But here, when we get to the Crusher ANC, man, I'm gonna get confused with all these names. You get that flat, thin cable, the same one that you get with the Crusher wireless. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this cable, but this one is just better. Okay, so this cable's good. It's just your basic, you know, Skullcandy cable that came with your Crusher wireless. You're getting it again. Then you got your button right here, and I believe it does some other controls like play and pause and stuff like that. And there's a built-in mic. But this one is definitely more premium when it comes to the experience of using the cable. I don't use cable, so I don't care. It's just something that you might notice when you pick up the package. Now it's time to take these basic beasts out of their cases. Just in case you can't tell the difference, this is the Crusher 360 and this is the Crusher ANC. I will always keep the Crusher ANC on this side and I will always keep the Crusher 360 on this side. Now taking a field trip around these things, you'll notice a big difference in the ear cup. The shape is relatively the same as far as the profile. But when you flip it this way, you'll see that the Crusher ANC has a more rounded ear cup where we're still kind of flat here on this side. The texture of the 360 is coated with some soft touch material, and then the yoke is literally made out of metal, causing this to be a little bit heavier. How much heavier? Well, we'll see. Let me bust out this scale so we can see exactly how much these things weigh and see what the difference is. So let's zero it out right there. First, we'll take the 360s, fold them up so they fit on there. So we're looking at 11 3/8 ounces for the Crusher 360, and we're looking at 10 7/8 ounces. So there you see the difference in weight. I will tell you, it's not that much. It seems like it's not that much as far as numbers, but you definitely feel it in your hands. These are just a little bit heavier, and on the head, that makes a huge difference when it comes to comfort over time. Moving up the yoke, we only have a fold here, and that's it. That's the only way you can transport these. Now, these are special because not only do they swivel left and right, and fold, they swivel 90 degrees one way and 90 degrees the other way. That way, when you put them on and you take them off, you can either flip them down and have the music firing into your chest, or you can have the music firing up if you're that kind of guy. But it's nice that they rotate 90 degrees, or basically 180 degrees, because I don't normally see headphones that do that. So that's a huge plus on the ANC side of things. We still have that Skullcandy branding. It's just done a little bit more different on here. We have a more angular design along the headband. Speaking of the headband, let's open that up. So here, this is all metal right here. This is part of the yoke. Here we have this stainless steel backed up by plastic, and that's okay because that's pretty standard on headphones. Now on the headband is where they have the swivel for the Crusher 360, but it only goes so far. It's like a 15-degree swivel either way. There is no swivel on this headband because it's all down here at the yoke. Coming back down to the left ear cup, that's where we get into some major differences. Our power button is still on this side. It's just laid out a little bit different than before. You got 4 LEDs to indicate how much power you got. Here you got 5 LEDs to indicate how much power you got. Your 3.5 millimeter and your charging port have been moved to the right side, and I think that's where the Crusher wireless is as well. This layout mimics more of the Crusher wireless than it does the 360, but we'll keep going. So our bass slider is back. Our physical bass slider is back, and let me tell you, it's still just as awesome as before. On the 360s, we have a touchpad, which is only used for sliding the bass up or down. So this is your bass slider. It's actually a touchpad right here. Flipping over to the right ear cup, we still have the same layout from before, classic Skullcandy type of layout here. But now instead of the traditional plus and minus, we got these round buttons. And I'll tell you, this is not one of my favorite things about these headphones. These buttons right here, they're real tactile, very tactile feel. I mean, you know when you have pressed one. And I like the fact that they're a plus and a minus because it kind of helps you distinguish when you're not looking at them which one you're pressing. Whereas these are rounded off and this one's depressed in, and it takes a little bit more effort to distinguish where you are. Also, these buttons are nowhere near as tactile as these right here. You can actually hear the click. You hear that? You can't hear that click. Barely, you can barely hear it, and you can barely feel it too. They're kind of mushy, and I guess they did that to keep them kind of quiet. That way you're, you know, it's kind of a high-end headphone, so you want some quietness there, but I still prefer the tactile feel. Now, as far as looks, I really do appreciate the looks of both of them. These are hot right here. I like the design of it. It's just this classic Skullcandy design, whereas this one is more of a hybrid. You have somewhat of like a Skullcandy venue or Hesh design mixed with the Crusher, and it's just, you know, it's just a new take. I think I might favor this design a little bit more. It's a little bit more universal as far as headphone design. The only thing that's similar in my opinion is where the headphone breaks so you can actually adjust your headphones. That's the only thing that's similar as far as the Sonys go. Everything else is a different take. The Sony headband is a lot thinner and the ear cups are completely different. I'm not sure where that guy got that comment from. As far as aesthetics and build, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is the ear cups and the padding on the headband. So you'll see this is a deeper groove inside of this padding right here. This one's pretty deep, but this one's just a little bit, wow, it's actually narrower and deeper. So they went there with that. That way, if you got a nice peanut head like mine, you see that little peanut right there? It can stick up in there and be comfortable and not be pushed on too much. I remember saying that these felt better in my initial video, but they don't. They are the exact same material, and it seems like the exact same memory foam that's in these because they're both springing up at the same time, and they both still have that same amount of plushness in here. So exact same materials as far as the padding and the vinyl that they use. So I have to apologize for what I said in my previous video. Now, the most important thing about these is how they sound, because there is a big sound difference between the two. Now, when I talk about the sound differences, I don't want to include the personal sound that you can add. This is just a baseline comparison between two headphones. We're not going to talk about the personal sound because it's a personal sound, okay? We're not going to use that. But here with the Crusher 360s, I've always said that these were pretty balanced, but they are bass heavy headphones. And as you turn up that bass slider, it does kind of, man, they just went crazy on the bass, man. It just bloats up the sound and gives it a lot of womp womp. You know what I'm talking about, that thump, that womp womp, that trunk bass. And I love that about these headphones. But when you put on the ANC, you notice the difference immediately in the sound signature. These are much brighter as far as sound signature. They still pack the same level of bass, but we'll touch on that in a second. But this is a much brighter sound signature. Even at high volumes, low volumes, it's a much brighter sound signature than these are, which is a good thing in my opinion because I like bright sound signatures with bass coming from underneath or from the back. And that's where I feel like they really fine-tuned it and got it right with these. So when you slide up that bass slider on the 360, sometimes it really over-exaggerates some of the bass lines in your music, and it just really doesn't need to be there. So therefore you find yourself having to slide up and down and fine-tune your bass just right for almost every song, it seems like. Whereas here, I don't feel like they went as crazy with every bass note, like over exaggerating it. I think they just, they went back to the lab and said, you know what, maybe we put a little bit too much on every bass note in the 360s. Let's dial it down a notch, because it's still a lot. It's still a lot of thump and a lot of whoa, whoa. But we just didn't need that much. So they got it right here. I truly believe that this is the golden standard of having a bass slider in headphones. I know Skullcandy is pretty much the only company that does that, and they've set the golden standard right here with the Crusher ANC. Also, what I've noticed with the bass slider on a lot of songs, sometimes you'll have like a kick or a punch type of bass. This will get it. This will grab it and it'll do a nice job. But right here, the punch that you get out of these, like this really caters to punchy bass lines. It's almost like a honey badger got trapped in here and he's just trying to kick his way out, like boom, 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 boom. It's inexplicable how much thump you actually get out of these things. It has a lot of boomy bass, but it brings a solid thump to your music where it really needs to be. For instance, if you're listening to some country music or something with a band or something like that, you really do hear that kick drum. It just thumps, like you feel that kick from these headphones. Here, you just don't get that same kick and thump. You actually get a boom when you need a thump or a kick. So I never really noticed that until I heard these and they brought that kick back and I was like, okay, so the kick was missing. Here we are. So as far as the bass, I feel like the bass is really improved on the Crusher ANC. I feel like they tweaked it just enough to get that rumble you really want from a Crusher headphone, plus they give you that extra kick and thump that you might want out of some of your songs. As far as blending the bass with the rest of the music, i.e. the mids and highs, they do a much better job here, even on the low end of the volume spectrum. When you get up into the high volume ranges, all bets are off. They both sound fantastic, but as you tone down the volume a little bit, these stay a little bit more leveled out without having to adjust your bass slider down, because a lot of times when you're listening to headphones and stereos and stuff like that, the lower the volume, the less bass you need, because that bass is kind of gonna overtake the sound. Over here, yeah, you got to do a lot of adjusting, man. When you raise the volume up or down, you got to do a lot of adjusting to get that bass just right with every volume click. Now, speaking of volume and volume clicks, as far as overall volume goes, these would probably be one click, if not 1.5 clicks higher than the Crusher 360 as far as overall volume. And the brightness of the sound signature, it helps out with that volume, I feel like, too. You just get a brighter sound and you might get one full click of extra volume out of these right here. And another advantage is when you turn the volume all the way up with the Crusher ANC and then you turn that bass slider all the way up, it doesn't affect the volume levels as it does in the Crusher 360. A lot of times, I don't know if everybody's having a problem or not, but a lot of times in these headphones, if the volume is all the way up and then you turn the bass slider all the way up, as soon as you turn that bass slider all the way up, your volume levels get kicked down maybe 1 or 2 notches, and then you can probably bump it back up, but sometimes you just have that issue. You do not have that issue here. Both of these work great with gaming. I did test how they sounded with the cable. They sound okay with the cable. These are definitely wireless headphones and they should be used that way. Both headphones actually sound fantastic when they're wired when you're playing music, okay? Because right now you're listening to the audio quality from the mic, from the Crusher 360, and in my opinion, both of them are trash. There's no difference between the Crusher ANC versus the Crusher 360 in audio quality as far as the microphone. But as far as audio quality and music, both of them are awesome. But I have to tell you that you do not get to use the bass slider with the headphones turned off in wired mode. In order to use the bass slider on both sets of headphones, you must have them powered on. Now you're getting a little taste of the mic quality from the Crusher ANC. Like I said, they're both pretty trash, but yeah, it's an inline mic and you get what they give you. As far as call quality on Bluetooth, it's pretty standard stuff, man. You don't get good call quality with Bluetooth headphones, and the Crusher ANC is no exception to the rule. On my end of the phone calls, everything sounds fine. But they both do sound great with gaming. I have to give a slight edge to these because they have more of a soundstage for movies and stuff like that, although there's one caveat. with YouTube and stuff like that, I experienced some random latency, man. There was latency like all over the place. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't, sometimes it was bad, sometimes it was just like half a millisecond or whatever. So it's like, it's very inconsistent with the latency. As far as aptX and aptX HD and stuff like that, I could not find anything on the internet as far as confirming like something from Skullcandy, whether it was on their website, on the internet, or on the packaging, whether it had that stuff like that, like Bluetooth 5.0. I'm gonna assume it's Bluetooth 5.0, but golly, I mean, the latency in these, it kills me with the YouTube. It's not consistent. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. These, I do not experience any latency. While I was gaming with these on, they sounded fantastic, didn't experience any latency, and I like the sound stage of these. It's just that you're gonna be very inconsistent when it comes to what video content you're watching, whether it be Netflix, Hulu, or YouTube videos. Very inconsistent on latency when it comes to the Crusher ANC. This is a great buy right here. I do not regret having these in my stable, but I'm super glad I paid the money for these and got these. This is a Best Buy special, this color scheme right here. The only ones they have online as far as Skullcandy's website are the red and the black on black. You gotta go to Best Buy to pick up this black on tan right here. But I have no regrets on purchasing these because I purchased them for specific reasons. These are not my all everyday headphones. These were purchased for specific reasons. One, they have ANC. That's an advantage over the Crusher 360. Two, they have USB-C charging. Yes, they have less battery life. I think, don't quote me on this, but this is like, I don't know, 35 or 40 hours right here with quick charge. These have 24 hours with the quick charge, 3 hours for 10 minutes. You know, as far as battery life, 24 is good for me. I mean, hell, 15 would be good enough for me because I actually do charge my stuff. But with 10 minutes of quick charge and you get 3 hours of playtime, I'm okay with that. Some of you guys out there, you need like 60 hours worth of playtime out of your headphones. I don't understand why. You just, I don't know, charge your stuff. But that is an advantage that these have. They have a longer battery life. But the disadvantage for me in my case is the cable, the charging cable. You have micro USB-C in the 360 and you have USB-C in the ANC headphones, and all of my cables are turning into the USB-C, so that gives me advantage here on the ANC headphones. Comfort, I gotta give a big edge to long-term comfort to the Crusher ANC simply because of that little difference in weight, man. When it comes to headphones, weight makes a huge difference. I know a lot of cats out there like premium materials like metal. Somebody said, aren't you disappointed with the materials they use? The only difference in materials that they use is this metal on the yoke right here. It's plastic, and I think they did a really good job. It's a nice premium plastic. But when it comes to build materials, the more quality, like if you're asking for metal and heavy leathers and stuff like that, that's gonna make your experience a lot worse because it's weight on your head and it's gonna make your ears sweat and stuff like that. So you have to have that compromise in there. So as far as a compromise, I really don't think there was one. I like the feel of these in my hand, but because it's metal, you feel that coldness and it feels like quality. But these right here, they just feel better because you can wear them a long time without having that weight on your head and on your ears. So even though the ear pads and the headband is made out of the same materials, I gotta give the edge to the Crusher ANC because it's just a little bit lighter. As far as a comparison between the two, these are very similar yet very different headphones. One has ANC and more up-to-date stuff. One has a little bit more premium of a build because we have metal here, but that makes it less comfortable than the other. So you have to pick and choose whatever you care about most. Some people don't care about ANC. So if these are cheaper right now, even though I think the only ones you can pick up are like refurbished or for sale from an individual, they do not sell these anymore. So if you can pick these up at a really great price, I've seen some for like 160 bucks. Get these if you don't care about ANC. The ANC is pretty good. It's on the same level as the Sony 700Ns or the Skullcandy venues. It's about the same levels. It's not gonna block out everything, but it does damper out a lot of ambient noise. So the noise canceling on here is pretty good. Which one should you buy? Like I said, it's up to you, man. If you don't care about ANC and you like that thick bass all over the place, get you some Crusher 360s. If you want some tighter bass and a lot more punch and a brighter sound, and ANC and USB-C charging and personal sound, which I will not compare in this video because it's not fair. But yeah, you go ahead and get these because these are more up to date. And in my opinion, they sound much better than the Crusher 360. So it is a true upgrade as far as I'm concerned. But I ain't trying to run your life and tell you which one to pick. I'm just comparing two awesome headphones. But that's enough about these headphones, man. Let's talk about my social media. If y'all want to hang out after this video, I'm on Instagram, man. You can find me there. Dig off in those links, find me on Instagram. We'll hang out a little bit. But don't forget, it's Crusher Week. I'm doing a video every day this week with these bad boys. So stay tuned for some more comparison. And of course, on Friday, I'm gonna give you my final thoughts, like the stuff I really like and the stuff I hate about these headphones on Friday. So stay tuned all week, man. But if you had a good time watching this video, make sure you throw those emoji hands up in the comment section, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hey, where you going? No. Sit back down. We got to talk about this. You didn't have a good time? All right, then. Hit the subscribe button. There you go. Reach down there. There you go. And then hit the bell because you need to know when I'm opening up more new stuff. You got to come right back here and check this stuff out. Now, don't you feel like a better human being? All right, I knew you would. All right, man. I'll see you soon.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?